We place value on money and ignore tradition. And that is why this embarrassment is brought to the throne of Oba of Ikpetumodu. Hello everyone, you're so welcome. Whether you are Yoruba or non-Yoruba, honestly, this is a time where, because of this incident, a lot of people have been talking to say, how can a traditional ruler, an installed Oba in Yoruba land, be caught in a fraud case? When we started hearing this, we were like, okay, maybe it's a rumor or it's not a rumor. But the truth of the matter is right now, he has been jailed for 56 months in the abroad of Obodo because he has pleaded guilty of COVID fraud of $4.2 million. It is not just embarrassing for the people of Ikpetumodu, the traditional institution there, the government, but also for we, the Yorubas, and in general, as Nigerians, because they are thinking to be like, well, he's known as a Yoruba king that we know, but something like that happening abroad in the United States of America specifically is flagged as a Nigerian, and it just adds to the number of cases, severe cases of our people putting their hands into Before now, our traditional institution is one that is very sacred, is one that you cannot use money to buy, because according to Bubere Yoruba Tamanwo, this Nollywood movie, that if you came in through Wuru, something will happen and you'll be disgraced out of the throne. Now, are they far from the truth which just happened? I think if you don't even believe in that traditional kind of belief, we know there's something called karma. We know there's something called law and justice, especially in a country like United States. They can be looking at you like you're staring at you in 3D, right? But they will watch you, they will monitor you, and by the time they climb on you, you go know say something hits you. Now, this Baba wey dey right come out and granted an interview, because from that time where they sentenced this Kabiyesi, we have been saying, irú kí lèyí ọmọ anífowóṣe. Traditional rulers that were always the custodian of our culture, custodian of morals, of values, that we tell people do the right thing, don't do the wrong thing, give people hope and keep encouraging hard work, dedication, commitment, and enterprise. Now we can't say our Kabiyesi, no be small thing. He is a qualified, I think he's an accountant or economist. So he's not an illiterate. He knows what's up. And he's lived abroad for donkey years with his family and all of that. Yeah? So we know people that travel abroad, of course, they have roots here. Some grew up here. Some even have lineage of Obaship and everything. But we know when it comes to Obaship, it's either go coin or become a coin. Yeah? So for whatever reason, according to what this Baba said, which I'm going to read out in a bit, this Baba said, no be this Kabiyesi, the traditional council or the Ifa chose. Now because of money, and person wey don't do COVID fraud is not an allegation again. It's what the courts in the US has said. So it's not an allegation anymore. Because Baba has pled guilty, say, now true, say he do fraud of $4.2 million. So with that kind of money, with somebody coming to Nigeria, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Owó tẹ́ pé tó bá gbé dé Nigeria, bá bàbá ṣe bá gbélé gbùgà everywhere. By the time he changes the money into, even a quarter of it into Naira and start building something, everybody will be like, God, when? God, when? God, when? Yoruba normally says, orúkọ rere ó dára ju wúrà àti fàdákà lọ. A lot of us were brought up to say, don't forget this child, the son or daughter of whom you are. But how do we now tell Kabiyesi that he didn't remember that part? Let me go into the reading of the interview granted by Prince Laboye Ayola of the Aribile ruling house. That's this Baba tó wọ purple fìlà yìí ló ń jẹ́ Prince Laboye Ayola. Pé what kind of embarrassment is this in Ikpetumodu? Because this throne is a sacred one. That's because they chose to neglect their age-old customs during the selection of the Oba. Ṣé mọ̀ pé ó ní àwọn nǹkan kan tí èèyàn máa ń ṣe kéèyàn tó jọba. According to this Baba sọ wípé àwọn neglect ẹ̀. The incumbent Oba Joseph Oloyede, that's this Kabiyesi of 4.2 million naira COVID fraud, is currently serving 56 months sentence in US after being convicted of defrauding the COVID-19 relief fund of $4.2 million. He was arrested in May 2024 and was convicted by Judge Christopher A. Boyko recently. Speaking with the nations, Ayola accused kingmakers, but any kingmakers àti ìjọba, you people are valuing money over tradition. He disclosed that candidates were forced to pay inflated fees, including a 500,000 naira form fee. Pé fọ́ọ̀mù láti ra fọ́ọ̀mù láti ìjọba 500,000 naira ni wọ́n tà á. And compulsory purchase of government land worth 12 million naira. Ṣé ti gbọ́? While Ifa consultation and other sacred rites were ignored. Bitan Lolade. Baba said, wọ́n ní kọ́ ẹni tó bá fẹ́ contest ra 12 million naira land one. Wọ́n tún ní kan sanwó form. Kan sanwó form láti tújọba o. Wọ́n sanwó form 500,000. Pé gbogbo nǹkan tó pertain, everything pertaining to traditional consultation, rites or rituals and everything was ignored. Baba further said that the jailed Oloyede was selected only because of his wealth. Ó parí. Ele lọ kà nínú Guardian newspaper. Ibẹ̀ ni bàbá wa alálùbáríkà Prince Laboye Ayọ̀láì ló ti sọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Wípé nítorí owó ni wọ́n ṣe mú Prince Oloyede. I quote him. He said he never submitted himself to traditional scrutiny. He just came from the US to vie for the stool and kept traveling abroad until he was arrested. Prince Laboye also added that the monarch, Oloyede, also committed sacrilege by demolishing the ancestral palace and removing the remains of past rulers to erect a new building. Prince Laboye said this jailed Oba committed sacrilege. That means abomination. How? Why? The reasons he gave is that he demolished the ancestral palace. Pé Kábíyèsí wó ancestral palace tó wà ńbẹ̀ and removed the remains of past rulers to erect a new building. Pé allegedly torí eléyìí àkọ́tà àti confam ẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ court tí wọ́n ti jail bàbá láti confam, but eléyìí sì allegedly pé Kábíyèsí order removal of corpses of past traditional rulers kúrò ní orí bí palace tán sí wọ́n sí. Wọ́n dẹ̀ àárẹ̀ erect new buildings síbẹ̀. Wọ́n ròyìn pé buildings tí bàbá yìí erect sí ìlú yẹn kì í ṣe kérémí, kì í ṣe kékeré rárá. Láti last year tó ti wà nínú kéèsì yìí láti May 2024, just few weeks ago, I think about 2 weeks ago, ló convict bàbá wípé bàbá ti jẹ́wọ́ pé àwọn wà guilty lóòótọ́. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní kan lọ sí ẹ̀wọ̀n ọdún 3. So this Prince Laboye now said, we have to go back to tradition when we are now choosing the next successor. Pé ojú wa ti bó báyìí o, embarrassment ti mú throne ni o, ọba ti lọ fún 3 years lẹ́wọ̀n o. Àwọn aráàlú pẹ̀tùmọ̀dù, ẹ̀yin kingmakers, ẹ̀yin ìjọba, tẹ́ bá tún ti fẹ́ mẹ́lòmíì, ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe bó ṣe ń ṣe kó lè rí bí ti ń rí. Ẹ jẹ́ kí selection process tó yẹ ká follow, let us follow it. It's a traditional stool. Traditional institutions have their own way of doing things. Either it's written or not written. And it's not a tipa position. Tó bá fẹ́ gan, tífà ò bá mú ẹ, o kàn fẹ́ lásán ni. Ẹlòmíì gan is not even interested in traditional titles or whatever, but if you are the one that Ifa has chosen, then you have to consider. Kì í ṣe rí ọmọdé rárá. Kò sẹ́ni tínú ẹ̀ dùn as a Yoruba person hearing, I'm being specific here because of course he's a Yoruba king, we cannot deny him. So káwọn Kábíyèsí wa ẹjọ́ ẹ̀tẹ̀ jẹ́jẹ́. In fact, for the last 2-3 years, what we hear about some Kábíyèsí, some baales, the baale that was beating an old man, it's just so much. Ẹ̀bẹ̀ bẹ̀yín. Nígbà tí ẹ̀yin àgbà ń ṣe báyìí, báwo ni káwọn ọmọdé ṣe máa pè àwọn bàbá wa ní ọba yahoo yahoo? Níbo la fẹ́ fojú sí? Báwo la ṣe fẹ́ explain fún wọn? Àwọn ò lè drag ọba ń bí o torí kò gbà wá lẹ́nu láti drag ọba ń bí, but Elédùmarè sọ pé ká má sọ òótọ́, kò dé ní ká má sọ ohun tó ń lọ nílùú. Òun náà ni Prince Lọ́bóyè sọ yìí sí pé ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí Ọlọ́run ẹ má jẹ́ ká wọ tó wó. Àkọ́rin pé àwọn kan lówó àfáwọn wá látọ̀ pé kán wá jọba torí wọ́n ti gbé dání. And that is why what you don't get the right way, you will not enjoy it. It will bring a lot of wahala. So, may Oba will have realized his mistakes. I know his family, the family of his friends, it's just what it is. Ká ṣọ́ra ṣe, ipò dùn, ipò ọlá dára, ipò ọlá dùn gan. Ṣùgbọ́n kọ́lá tó dùn joyè ń kọ́, ṣá wọlé bó ṣe yẹ ká wọlé, ká lè nífọ̀kànbalẹ̀ láti jókòó sórí ẹ̀. Because honestly, even if youngsters are asking questions, what do we say? And we Yoruba, we pride ourselves that we are the one of the cultures that have ìṣe àti àṣà àti èdè. But it is 2025. May God help us. May Kabiyesi realize what he's done. May God give him the grace to be able to pull through these 3 years. But of course, it cannot be reinstated again. Or maybe it can be, we do not know. But ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe bó ṣe ń ṣe. Traditional wise, let them follow their code of conduct. Let the politicians to follow their own code of conduct. Kí ilé ayé lè jẹ́ rọrùn. Káyé ṣe ilé ayé wàdùwàdù mọ́. Gbogbo nǹkan tá a kó jọ yìí náà kò tún bá ń tẹ́ni. Ẹ̀ńtọ́lọ́run bá ló máa fi ẹ̀mí gígùn ló máa gbádùn ẹ̀. So to Kábíyèsí, Ọba Olóyèdé, àṣìkí náà ni pé ká dé pẹ́ lórí, kí bàtà pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀, ká ṣe pẹ́ lẹ́nu. Nítorí báyìí ń sìn àti àbí báwo la ṣe fẹ́ sọ gan-an. Adé ò lè pẹ́ lórí mọ́, because Adé ò lè sunú ẹ̀wọ̀n. Tó bá yẹ pé Nàìjíríà gan-an ṣe òpá Adé ò lè sunú ẹ̀wọ̀n, but ìlú abroad yẹn wọ́n rán ìyá láyé anybody o. Ìlú abroad yẹn, if you cannot face the term, you don't do the something ni o. Ẹ bá drop comment ẹ jẹ́ má bú Kábíyèsí ń bí o. Wishing his village and the community peace. Ire.